So I've just got back to the boat, and usually when I get back there's a few things to do, a few little jobs. Make sure the engine works, make sure all the sea cocks are working and are open, so I can use the sink and stuff. I brought a few bits of bobs back with me this time, just jobs that I need to do, fitting some new stuff on the gas, but it's an absolutely beautiful day today.
After I bought the boat for the first 2 years, I had her at Nos Marina, which is a great place. There's some lovely people down there, and I had fun for a couple of years. Then I got on the waiting list with Dart Harbour and ended up getting a mooring out on the river. This is a swing mooring. It's a slightly different pace of life out here. It's a bit quiet, which I like. There's pros and cons. Obviously, the pros are it's a bit cheaper and you're out of the way and you can leave the mooring when you want. The cons are that you don't have the amenities that you do at the marina. Anyway, I decided to plan a passage and head west.
This is Dartmouth. I'm on the recycling pontoon, and this is where I dump off all my waste. I dump off all my waste in those bins behind it, and also this, if I ever need to top the boat up with water, I need water on the boat, this is where I come and do it. So I empty out my tanks and put in fresh water from here. So that behind me that's making all the noise is the fuel barge, and I'm going to stop off there in a minute and top up with diesel. So I've done my water, filled up with water. I'm taking a little trip to Salcombe today, heading west. And yeah, it's quite difficult to land on this little pontoon. Especially single-handed by yourself, you have to really, know which way the wind's blowing and which way the tide's going to stop. And it doesn't always go right.
As I left Dartmouth, there wasn't really much wind at all, but it was a beautiful day and the sea was nice and flat, so I motored out, chilled and made the most of it. Then a bit later on the wind picked up and I managed to go wing on wing with my mainsail in my cruising chute, and then made a tack past start point and was flying towards Salcombe. And there I anchored up and decided to make a plan and stay there for the night. So looking at that, I've got 7 or 8 knots of wind and I'm making 6 knots speed over ground. I expect I've got a little bit of help from the current as well, but for my boat that was good going. Oh my goodness, it's such a lovely day today. I'm just anchored, just checked out the anchor, dropped the anchor in this bay, and it's beautiful. So basically drop the anchor and I'm on the hook, so I'm going to try and stay here tonight, and maybe sail further west tomorrow. Make some food. It's really warm and it's 3:30 in the afternoon. I think I'm just gonna jump in the water and I might check out, see what the bottom's like. Oh god, it really is beautiful. Anyway, for a while now I've wanted to check the underneath of the boat, just to check the anodes to see what shape they're in, if they're worn or if they need replacing. So today it's beautiful and sunny. I've got the wetsuit on, and I've got my flippers and mask and snorkel, and I'm just gonna take the ladder, jump off the side of the boat, go underneath and check it, see if I need to check any of the anodes and see what state the bottom of the boat's in, because I haven't seen it in about a year and a half, so it'll be interesting. So that evening I did pop into Salcombe very quickly to pick up some provisions, and then motored back to Rebecca and stayed on Rebecca that evening. I didn't get a lot of sleep. The anchorage was quite rolly, and also I had in the back of my mind, you know, if the anchor dragged I'd end up on the rocks, so I was thinking about that as well. Anyway, next morning I set off, and I had a bit of bad weather at the beginning of the morning because I set off early, but then things settled down a bit. So this morning I set off from Salcombe about 7:30 in the morning to catch the tide west, and I'm heading now, just on the map here, I'm about here now, just outside Plymouth, and I'm heading over here to Fowey, which is just there, and so hopefully I'll get to Fowey by early evening. I had a bit of weather in the morning which was weird. It blew up and I was messing around with the sails for ages and wasn't doing what it said, but now I've managed to get the wind vane sorted, and as you can see I'm doing a bit of downwind sailing. Wing on wing, which is nice. I'm a little bit off course at the moment. It's just broken, something else to fix. Okay, right, put this down, fix that. But then I spent a night in Salcombe in the anchorage, so I didn't stay in the harbour just to see what that was like, and it was a bit rolly, so it felt like I didn't sleep. I probably did, I went on and off, but you're always a bit wary when you're, you know, sleeping and you're just on an anchor in a cove, because if you come off, you know, you could find yourself on the rocks in the middle of the night. So yeah, it was yeah, and last night was the first time that I slept at anchor, so that was a new thing. You know, I've still managed to get up and get the boat moving, and I would say I'm just under halfway there. It's 1 o'clock, and hopefully in about 5 or 6 hours I'll be coming into Fowey, but I'll let you know what happens later. That over there, I don't know if you can see it, but that is the Eddiston Lighthouse. Somewhere along there. So that evening I got into Fowey with no problems at all, and picked up a visitor's buoy, and then decided to take the dinghy into Fowey and have a little explore. And this is the dock here, and that's where I left the dinghy, and then you go through the gates at the top, and I went into town and I got myself some fish and chips, sat out on the waterside, ate the fish and chips, and then I went to the pub, and a bit later on I went back to the boat, and then next day I set back out again. Yeah, so I've just been to Fowey. I spent the night in Fowey. I moored up there after quite a long sort of 12-13 hour sail yesterday. I was going to stay there and look around for the day, but it's a nice day today, and I thought I'd just go out sailing and see where I end up. I'm going to head back west. I love it when it's like this. My boat's got a long keel and it's quite heavy displacement, so it takes a bit to get going because it's heavy. So in light winds I do have to get my Jenniker out some of the time, just to get any sort of propulsion at all. And I hate running the engine, because the whole idea of sailing is not to be running the engine, it's to be, you know, but every now and then it comes together, and God, it's just wonderful when it's like this. Just, you know, okay, light winds, but just the right amount for the Jenniker to be towing you along at 4 knots. And yeah, it's a beautiful day. There's hardly a ripple on the ocean. It's just perfect sailing, really. Wow,
what a great day for sailing.
I had a really nice sail back from Fowey. I stopped off at Salcombe that night again and anchored out. Then the next day headed back to Dartmouth. And I was keeping an eye on the weather a little bit because the wind was picking up and I didn't want it to get too windy with having my cruising chute out, because it makes it just a little bit difficult when you're single-handed to take it down. If it's too windy, you don't want to overpower the boat. So I was keeping an eye on the wind, but everything worked out fine in the end.
Well, I'm coming to the end of like a 4-day trip. It's 23rd of April 2018. Yeah, and I've just got back. I've just come back. I've been to Cornwall, and I managed to get all the way down to Fowey, and popped in Salcombe and stuff like that. So 4 days of solid sailing. I've used about every combination of sail I can. I'm coming back into Dartmouth now, but flying back now.
The wind's very nicely on my beam, and I'm doing about 5 knots. And looking forward to get back to my mooring.
After a long 4 days of sailing, I'm back on my mooring now. It's good to be back here. It's nice and chilled, and I can take a while now to do some jobs on the boat and just take it easy. But there are definitely worse places in the world to be. So I've been working on my cockpit, and I've put some extra wood in there, and this is what the caulking looks like as you put it down. I've left it on for a couple of days, and it's still a little bit wet, and that's what it sort of looks like. And now I've got my power tool, and I'm going to sand it down and see how it goes. Well, this took several hours yesterday and quite a few more hours this morning, but it's coming along now. I'm just taking all the, you can see where I've just taken all the caulking back there, and this is where I got to, and I still have to finish this little bit here.
Anyway, I managed to finish off the sanding on the teak in my cockpit. It turned out rather nice. So I hope you enjoyed my little jaunt down to Cornwall. If you enjoyed it, please press like and subscribe. You know, it helps me out. Next time I get an offer to sail down to the Yelm with my friend Phil. So we go on a little adventure heading west again. So thanks for watching, and take care.